Right for America. Issues that unite, don't ignite. I am your host, Cindy Gross, also known as the Jewess Patriot. But you don't have to be Jewish to be a part of our show. I just want to again say, as I open every week, welcome to those who are returning and welcome to our new viewers and followers. And remember that the America First Warehouse, Cindy's Corner Productions, and any of the outlets that feature our show do not take responsibility for the words that are said by our guest. And with that, we're going to go into our opening, our pearls of wisdom, because my Jewish name is Isel Perel, which means sweet pearl. I really use this term a lot, and I'm really using it a lot this summer. Is our glass half full or half empty? Are you happy with what is going on in Washington, or are you upset about it? I'm not here to answer your questions or answers, but I'm here to show you and share with you thoughts that unite common sense people. Have conversations. Do a lot of research. Don't believe everything you hear the first time. And don't sit in these glorious hot summer days as we start school and go back into fall routines. I can't believe we're already talking about Halloween, Thanksgiving, and the holidays in some projects, that you are not taking advantage of the last glorious days of summer. Part of that is entertainment. And I want to make your last days of vacation as enjoyable as possible, entertaining and informative. By popular demand, we have back award-winning playwright Gary Morgenstein with another one of his timely plays that deals with parenting, bullying, and today's headlines. Dancing on Glass. We're going to start today with our first act. And for 2 minutes, I'm going to let Gary introduce it and introduce his cast and director. Gary? Is he there?
Yes, I'm here.
Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. I'm just going to get my video on. Apologies. Oh, God. Yeah, okay.
Technology.
Welcome
I
back
did
to
it.
the show.
Oh.
We had a great response to our last reading.
Sorry.
And there's nothing better than sitting on a beach, or even if you're sitting at your desk at work, than to shut down the news and get entertained by your truth with an award-winning story. So tell us a little bit about Dancing on Glass. Introduce your cast. You'll come back in between acts with some more details. And here you are. Take the floor.
Dancing on Glass has had 6 readings across the country. We're about to announce our world premiere production. And it takes on the virus, which is infecting America's schools, which is, as you say, political bullying, attacks on free speech, and anti-Semitism. And it takes place at a private school in Brooklyn where the school board is run by Democratic Socialists. I know, what could possibly go wrong? And we're going to have the first act, the first scene of the play in Act 1. And it's going to star Jackie Kusher as Adam Seitz, Jason Depora as Esty, his daughter, directed by Michelle Capolino. And then we'll come back and we'll talk about it. But it's pretty timely. I wrote this just just before October 7th. And we had a reading in Manhattan at the Dramatists Guild. And people said, well, you're so prophetic. And we said, no, all this has been happening, but no one wanted to confront it. We're going to confront it right now.
And here we are, Act 1, Dancing on Glass.
Lights up.
Act 1, Scene 1. Sykes' living room, Brooklyn, late afternoon. It's a room which hasn't had much furniture in a long time. Adam Sykes, 60-ish white male teacher who can't get out of the way of his principals, enters on fumes of agitation.
Esty, where are you? Did you get my messages?
I didn't check.
I called 3 times.
How would I know if I didn't check?
Then what's the point of having a cell phone?
How else would you reach me?
So?
Now I heard you got fired again.
Don't say it like that.
Sorry. Why'd you get fired this time, Daddy?
Because I raised my voice against narrow-minded, bigoted idiocy.
Again?
Yes, again. I won't let my students be brainwashed by self-serving political agendas.
Why not? They're brainwashed every day by social media, the news, each other.
But not in my classroom. That's the sanctuary of truth.
Were any other prophets fired?
No, just me. Where the hell are you going?
I have a 3 o'clock Zoom.
Damn it, Esther. I'm upset.
Sorry. What really happened, Daddy?
As opposed to my usual delusional perceptions.
Yes.
The school board is changing the map of Israel.
That's a pretty big move for a dinky private school in Brooklyn.
Oh, because they're...
And you said...
But there's good news.
Thank you, Grandma Gussie.
I can request a hearing.
The confessor petite bourgeois sins, Father, forgive me, I know not what I think, which you've always rejected.
Not this time, Esty.
Why? You don't have to kiss their rings, just make a deal.
Oh, right. My humiliation's behind door number 2, Monty.
Yes, get the severance. You're 65. You won't find another teaching job with your record anyway. I'll take the money, Monty.
Sayonara to the rat race.
No, sayonara to the rats.
So just put me out to pasture. Have you got the nursing home picked out?
Of course.
Well, I hope you haven't put down a deposit because it's too late.
What have you done, Adam?
I've got calls in to Brucey and Lou.
Who you haven't spoken to since Jerry Garcia died.
Oh, now I'm friendless and unemployable.
Pretty much. How will you pay for these high-priced lawyers?
They won't charge me.
Because of all those shrooms at Dead concerts.
Some things still matter. I'm marching into battle whether you approve or not, Esty.
There's a smart lawyer I follow on Instagram.
You hate attorneys.
I follow God's successes and failures.
Oh, because of your sacred mission to end social media as we know it.
Mm-hmm.
All colors and creeds.
Yes.
Religion.
From Druids to Buddhists.
Political persuasions.
No matter how much I gag.
Binary. Non-binary.
God, how old are you?
Any felons?
2.
Really?
Really? Why Slovakian?
Why not?
3.
I guess it can't hurt to have a backup plan. I appreciate your help, Esty.
Don't. You're making a mistake. B-I-G.
You wouldn't risk your reputation introducing me to this lawyer if my case was hopeless.
Why must you always make things more than what they are?
Because they usually are, if we only had the guts to admit it. I'm just trying to thank you, Esty.
Then pick up your clothes. I had to chase your socks the other day.
End scene.
Well, you set up a situation that I lived in my life, and I'll talk about my own lawsuits after we do the second act, because especially with what's going on in the mayor's race in New York, there's a lot that every teacher, every parent, and every student needs to know. You know, when I went for my master's degree in education, we had to take many courses, and one of them was called the education triangle. Because if one piece of the triangle was broken, the entire system breaks. One is the educator, one is the parent, and one is the student. And when I say parent, I mean parent or guardian, grandparents, etc. Okay, Gary,
Yes, here I am. I'm here.
we have a couple of new actors. We'll go to the ones we met last time, but I am going to be a little selfish as a big Dallas Knots Landing CBS fan. And knowing that this woman was at the big Dallas fan reunion last weekend, I've got to talk to actress Deborah Trinelli. Join us.
Hello, how are you? Hi,
Sent
Cindy.
her all the pictures. The center. But was even more fun was watching how the first generation of Dallas from the original 80s went to the next generation with Josh Henderson,
And Jesse
and
Metcalf.
Metcalf, and some of that, and how everybody was like one big family. They even had the Three's Company crew that was still alive.
Which was great for me because I was on an episode of Three's Company, so I had a reunion with Priscilla and Joyce DeWitt. So Priscilla Barnes and Joyce DeWitt, and of course Jenna Lee was on our show too. So
I will tell you that I don't care how many streaming stations there are. There was nothing like ABC, NBC, and CBS for quality television. There was nothing like real live Broadway consistently where you had Tony Award nominees and it was hard to pick one because you knew them all.
mhm.
It's hard to look at now the Emmy nominations for daytime dramas where so many people start, like Ken Crusherville. I remember him starting in daytime. I remember Donna Mills on Love is a Many Splendid Thing, and now I'm showing my age. So tell us what it was like to have fans and remember and reminisce and want what was, some of it's now close to 40 years old.
It's rather remarkable when you're doing a show, you know people are watching and it's popular, but you have no idea that it's going to become the iconic phenomenon that it still is. We had a big reunion at the Hollywood show in Burbank a year ago, March, and there were 26 cast members all together for the first time since the original went off in 91. And it's from all over the world, all over the country. It's remarkable. And as you said, multi-generations now watching the show or discovering, rediscovering. It's quite humbling, but it's wonderful. They're such fantastic fans, and the cast enjoys being together so very much. When we had that reunion, we were all hugging and kissing, and we were like, oh, I guess we really should talk to our fans now because we were having such a great time together. So,
And this station loves Dallas and Houston and all of Texas.
yes.
And, we appreciate everything, all the years of entertainment, because the supporting cast in Dallas was just as important as the main characters because of all the interactions and the twists and turns in the story.
Mhm. As people come up to us and they say, you were the backbone.
That's right. And speaking of backbones and being part of a cast, Gary, how did you know that this story was so timeless when you wrote it?
I think it was our first reading. We did a fundraiser at a synagogue in Bradley Beach, New Jersey, and it was quiet. It was so quiet. And as a neurotic playwright, you go back and forth. You think if it's too quiet, no one's paying attention, and you just can't hear them snoring. Okay, but it was afterwards. People were just so taken by the story and by the honesty, which is what we really try to do. As you know from A Black and White Cookie, which we read last week, you have to be honest about issues, even if sometimes people get offended by the honesty. Well, you have to be able to show the problem, to show a solution, and to bring people forward and addressing it and overcoming it. And sometimes showing it going on offends people. Well, that's, as we say in Brooklyn, tough noogies. But
we're not offering a solution, but we're offering discussion ideas to move forward, especially bringing people with different thoughts and different ways of communicating together to try to compromise, a word that we don't know anymore around the world. So would you please introduce us to another new member that we did not meet before that is part of this production?
it's Jason Thapora.
Yes. Hello.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I just graduated with a BFA in acting from Mason Gross. So it's really exciting to be a part of this production because I always aimed that when I exit college with all like the acting skills that I have to be part of something that really matters. Like I didn't want to just do parts just to do it. Like projects that I really care about motivate me, and they give me fuel to do more and to connect with people and to learn more about everything and everyone.
That's wonderful. And how did you get associated with this crew?
I've known Michelle since Black and White Cookie at Center Players, and then I met Jackie and other beautiful people. And then so I got involved with this production since Michelle is also directing it.
So Jackie, you're back, and we learned the last time your experiences as a teacher in the public schools.
Yes.
And I must tell you, we are on different sides of the political wave. However, we agree about one thing, and that is quality education in a safe environment.
Yes, I did 16 years of teaching in Monroe Township, fourth grade. And whenever election time came around, I would instruct my students to go home, listen to the presidential debate with their parents, and then turn the TV off. Because if they listen to one network, they're going to tell you one person's better, and listen to the other network and the other person's better. So shut your TV off and discuss what you heard with your parents. So I don't know, I guess through Gary, you think I'm on the other side of the spectrum, but I always vote for the person I believe is best for the job. I have voted for both parties, but as a child, I grew up, my parents as Holocaust survivors and immigrants. In those days, all the immigrant Jews were Democrats. And I went into the voting booth, and my father just looked for Democrat and went down the line. And that's why originally I was Democratic. But now I really listen to all candidates and what they stand for.
So I'm going to answer you with that. I also agree with exactly what you said. In fact, my mother's father, who I was extremely close with, was actually a committee member in Brooklyn for the Democratic Party.
Mhm.
But my father was a Republican, and this was always something that I guess I appreciated. But his best friend was the attorney for Adlai. His father was the attorney for Adlai Stevenson. So we come from both. But I was also always taught, look at a person. And I've had on my show some of the most progressive Democratic congressmen in Washington. And off camera, we are close friends because people don't understand a lot of what you see on TV, on the news shows, is for ratings. It's not real life. when you work together with people, whether it's in a school atmosphere, a theater, or even sitting in Congress, you get to know them as people, you know their families, you share hobbies. You're stuck overnight together in an airport and you're going to have dinner and a cocktail together. And that's just reality. And I wish, and this is one of the reasons I like putting these shows on, is that people realize we're all people.
Yes, and that's what I love about Gary's plays. We have people from all factions of life working together.
Coming together for a common cause. That's right. Humanity.
So now we're coming to Michelle, our director. Now, you do these as readings like this, you do these as live theater events. Share with us the experience, because this is quite unique on podcasts to do a reading. Approach this.
How do I approach this? I'm a funny person. My actors will tell you, readings are supposed to be just readings. They're very boring to me. I like to be engaged when I'm watching, and I like to have my audience engaged when they're watching. So we do the small little things that we can to bring our audience into understanding a full picture. Words are extremely important. Facial expressions will give you a mood. Semi props, a hat, a nose, makeup, hand movements will change the whole meaning of a scene. So that's how I've worked everything with all of my characters, and all of my readings always had a little bag on the side of each actor so they could pull out a hat or whatever. But I saw how it really engaged the audience a lot more. So we do some productions as well, but it's all in the facial and the body and the interpretation of my actors. I've been blessed to have such wonderfully gifted actors that if they had their hands tied behind their back, I think you get the message. And that's what we go for. So the beautiful.
I'm just so honored you picked my platform, my show, my podcast to share all of this, because I have to be honest with you. A lot of people said to me, this was pretty gutsy for me to think about putting on. And I said, I think this is something great, because a lot of people cannot afford a theater ticket anymore. A lot of people don't know what theater is.
True. Very true.
They don't even watch the movies that are based on the great Broadway plays and musicals. So they have no clue about people like Tennessee Williams and Eugene O'Neill. They don't know who Stephen Sondheim is. They didn't appreciate a chorus line celebrating their 50th anniversary. So if I could just make somebody a little bit more interested about how proud they should be to be Americans and can appreciate this kind of entertainment, then you have helped me accomplish the goal of mine, because theater has been such an important part of my life.
Well, we appreciate you, Cindy, for allowing us to do this. Not only are we entertaining your audience, but we hope Gary's wonderful writings helps us all think and maybe come away from it a little bit more informed and kinder.
Well, I'm going to have an exclusive announcement very soon with Gary about how these shows are going to be moving forward, and we'll be talking about that. Let's get into Act 2. Gary, do you want to introduce it, or would you like your director to?
Michelle, go for it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, by the way, can I just say that,
One
Michelle?
second.
Can
Go
I
ahead.
just say that in all my experiences, whenever I've dealt with a director, there's always a little agita. Okay, you know, there's a little thing. I never had that with Michelle. I never worry. As soon as she says she's doing it, done. I stop worrying. So I just wanted to give her that shout out.
Well, you have wonderful, devoted people. This isn't easy. And I see they come over and over and over again. The minute you say I'm doing something, no questions asked. And that speaks a lot about you, Gary, as an artist, but also as an organizer and a leader, because a lot of people cannot do this. Especially today, because everybody has an opinion and everybody knows it all. So please, Act 2, Dancing on Glass. Please introduce it, Michelle.
This is a scene where Phyllis, Deborah, is the principal. I like your interpretation better, Gary, but I'll go for it. Is waiting on Adam Seitz, who's coming in because there's a lawsuit going on here. And he's coming to speak with her in her own environment at the school as to why he was let go and why Adam is suing her and the school. Good, Gary?
Yes, and but by the way, just Adam is coming back. He's still in part costume from entertaining at a children's birthday party. So there's going to be a reference. So it'll make sense. Now that will make sense in a moment.
Have your nose, Jackie? Scene 11. Phyllis Tyler's office an hour later. Well, Adam bursts in, interrupting Phyllis's lunch.
Well, if it isn't my favorite soon-to-be former teacher. Nice cape.
Thanks.
Are you wearing purple eyeshadow?
Yeah, but you got a problem with that?
It's very becoming.
Don't worry, this'll be quick.
I'd like to withdraw my appeal.
Finally.
Wait. In exchange for
My sandwich is getting cold.
a public investigation into the bullying of Jewish students at Tyler Academy.
Delightful. Simply delightful. Oh, I'll miss that peasant righteousness. Before I throw you out, I must ask why I'd do such a thing.
Because I have proof.
Goodness gracious. Like the proof we discriminated against you?
No, I have a witness.
Oh, who?
A student.
Who?
I'm not telling you.
Because you haven't anyone.
Are you sure?
Quite.
You better hope so. Because your teachers won't lie to save your butt.
About non-existent bullying?
Giving lower grades to punish students for their political beliefs?
You're fishing.
Am I? What about swastikas on lockers, defacing the Star of David?
Pranks.
Oh, right, pranks. Did you report that to the police?
Why would I?
Does the phrase hate crime ring a bell?
They weren't Tyler students. Security found outsiders were responsible.
Oh, those damn Brooklyn neo-Nazis.
Seems so.
What about surveillance cameras?
Look, I don't have to answer to you.
You'll have to answer someone, Phyllis.
Gladly. I do what's best for my students.
Not everyone.
We protect the helpless against bullying, not the guilty.
Come again?
You heard me correctly.
So the Zionists are guilty.
The last gasp of a dying culture whose time has come and gone.
Very nice, Ms. Teitelbaum and the Trump supporters.
Is that even a debate?
It was for Andrew Bigford.
Oh, yes. Poor Andrew. Well, he deserved to be bullied.
No one deserves to be bullied, Phyllis.
When they threaten others, they do.
Did Andrew harass other kids?
Well, not physically, but
And how?
with his sordid views.
Oh, got it. Attacks on Zionists and conservatives are justified.
Let's say they're understandable.
But bullying a democratic socialist would be wrong.
Yes.
Or a transgender.
What, do you have a checklist?
No, but you obviously do.
That's my job. To rescue children, Adam. To protect them from clueless parents, addictive cell phones, and yes, well-meaning clowns like you.
Who believe in freedom of speech.
A freedom which protects freedom of hate. Look at America. Is it working anymore? You're a teacher, Adam. You know these children aren't as bright as we were, nor as morally strong. They must be shielded from the confusing marketplace of ideas.
You mean like making up your own mind?
The horse and buggy of democracy.
So you save the kids from the dangers of thinking by only allowing what's safest to think. You good, me bad, we done.
That's right. While the rest of the country worries about the price of chicken wings, schools like Tyler Academy enable the gifted to assume their rightful positions of leadership.
The pipeline to the Hamptons.
I see it more as a Noah's Ark. Ugh, Adam, someone must lead.
No, Phyllis, someone must rule.
And someone must follow the timeless story of humanity.
Even if 15-year-olds hang themselves along the way.
Theme.
Powerful. So I have to tell you, in this day and age, if a teacher spoke to a principal like that, they would be brought up on charges for insubordination and lose their job with the help of the unions. And it's not a story of a Jewish or a anti-Semitic. It could be anything. Because the unions are so powerful. Even if the argument was accurate. And I'll go into that more after our discussion with the cast and Gary. Do any of you have any thoughts about what I just said? Knowing how you know the whole play, you've been playing this more than once now with Gary, and you have, Jackie in a school probably has seen this happen to other teachers besides him.
That's actually happened to me in my first teaching job. I wore the suit jacket, but I didn't have a tie on. I wore beads. And lots of other things went on, but the principal finally called me into my office, and end of discussion was, Mr. Kusher, I could make it very difficult for you to teach anywhere in New York again. To which I said, if everyone's like you, I don't want to teach again, so I'm leaving on Friday. What do you mean you're leaving? You can't leave me. I go, I'm giving you the week. This is Monday morning. I'll be gone after Friday afternoon. So at that time, things were happening in my life where I was able to monetarily leave. But I could see a lot of teachers just closing their mouths and accepting.
Well, that's why we have the situation we have, because 30 years of teachers turning their, head the other way, closing their eyes and not opening up, not just in New York, but around the country, brought about school failure, especially in minority neighborhoods with poorer families, with parents of, single parent families. So I will tell you, I'm one of those teachers. I actually follow the rules. When I saw things weren't right, I sent notes to the appropriate teachers union leadership that I had to. I sent it to at that time, Mayor Bloomberg had mayoral control. So I sent it to his offices, and I was promised in writing whistleblower protection. I saw monies that were getting questioned about. I saw a principal smack on a tush, a 7-year-old boy. A principal choke a 7-year-old boy, another one, a hidden knife, a hidden gun, and I got in trouble and lost my job. That I lost my job in 2011. In 2012, by that point, the principal was arrested for lying to the housing authority and embezzling money and fraud where she lived. The superintendent was arrested in 2013 for sexual harassment and abuse. The nonprofit organization that I complained about in 2008 that was housed in my building, in handcuffs, the leader of it was escorted out. He stole $85,000 from this nonprofit organization that was going to the kids. You see the headlines about CPS and mandated reporting. I saw investigations tampered with, and kids actually getting hurt and being, misplaced in guardianships that should never have had them with neglect and abuse. So I've lived this horror that this play is all about. And I live it every day because they took away from me financial, professional, emotional stability. But I know every morning I wake up and said I did the right thing because it could have been one or two kids that I helped. And the fact that there are transcripts that were paid for by the teachers' unions that have all this, and that nobody wants to stand up and do something to fix it. And we are now in a president. I can't tell you who to vote for. I don't even know if all of you are in New York. But the name Mandani, who is little known, has suddenly become the face and voice of the world for democratic socialists. And when it comes to education, every single day, and I'm just taking this out of the papers from yesterday. Besides, I don't want to just talk about anti-Semitism because it's a much bigger issue. So I'm putting the anti-Semitism aside. This is for anybody of common sense, especially minorities who did not vote for him in the primary. They went with Cuomo, the blacks and Hispanics, because they know what he stands for. But his education agenda is to have a war on school choice, opposing vouchers. He wants to end school expansions. And he wants to allow buildings that are underutilized to become more schools, even though they were closed for questionable reasons. He wants to take away control from himself because he doesn't know what to do with it and put it into the hands of parents and students who themselves don't know what to do. Many of the students in these places and their parents are illegals, getting free breakfast, free lunch, free medical attention, free daycare, free summer care, free after school care on the taxpayers' dime. Citizens. And worse, the academic standards in math and reading are below average, some as in single digits. None of them know script. None of them know American history or command of the English language. And they came here. And you cannot compare it to immigrant stories of 150 years ago when people were taught one language in schools. They had to fend for themselves lunches and babysitters, and parents worked the same long hours and 2 and 3 jobs to make ends meet. So Gary, I'm going to you with what I just said of my own experience, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. I have 10,000 pages of documents to prove what I said, and many, many witnesses. How do you feel about your play that you wrote 5 years ago with the headlines today?
Well, I think it's sadly prophetic. I think ultimately it boils down to people and on a micro level. And that's why I always try, even though my plays take on social justice issues, I try to make sure that it's about flawed people trying to find their way through and trying to make the best of the situation. And so we see, for example, like Adam admitting that he was not straight. He was a coward in parts at the end of the play. He was a coward. You know, he should have stood up and he didn't. But there's always element for redemption and for change and hope. And so I believe a great deal in that. I think that our politicians, for the most part, certainly our media, except for Cindy and a few, are not going to give us hopefulness and not going to show a light. And I think in theater, in artists, certainly we have to show hope. It doesn't have to be squeaky clean at the end of this play. You know, there's more happiness and people come together, but it's not all resolved. And I think that's what we have to show audiences, that if they think and they consider and they look at different points of view and they don't have to agree with someone, there's a possibility we can reach out and change the situation. I think when you get into like classrooms, when you have a popular teacher like Adam, who actually reached these children didn't matter. There was no ancestry. Totally did not matter where they came from. And I think that's what we have to hope for.
So I'll tell you, I won actually $35,000 for my class, for my school. My principal got the money. I got a plaque for my third grade testing in the English and math. So
You see?
talk about how good teachers were rewarded. My principal got $35,000 that who knows what she did with. It didn't go into classrooms.
Hawaii was very nice.
That's right.
Well, that's why I never went into it, Cindy. I have my degree in education, but I decided not to teach after student teaching in Brooklyn my last semester. And I saw the politics, and I saw when I was told, don't bother with that child who needs special attention. The family's terrible. And it was so heart-wrenching that I knew I couldn't deal with the politics, and I wound up going into business.
And I went into it. I have 2 masters, and I mean, I loved the children. Some of them really were wonderful kids, but overall, I saw people, and most of them were Democrats, and they really rely on what they hear and keep voting the same way and keep getting worse and worse and worse results. Okay, to our new actress. How do you feel about being a part of this and listening to the education? Because you're a different generation than us. Yes.
Okay, I guess. I was like, I am in.
You're listening to this whole discussion. You must have your own thoughts because you went through schools differently.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because honestly, when I was in elementary, all we did was very basic American history. Even in high school, we just like we dipped our toes into talking about stuff. With certain teachers, you really could just say anything you wanted, and you can have a very calm, educated discussion about it. And even with your peers, sometimes things got heated, but it was handled because most of my high school's population was very mature and very intelligent. And I am a teacher myself. I'm not a school district teacher. I'm with a program that does before and after school care with curriculums and the summer camp curriculum. And I've witnessed things where it's like, this is really disappointing because as much as I want to speak up for something, it was a very specific instance. You don't want to get the person, like your other coworkers fired. Like you're scared if you're going to get fired, what repercussions come with that. And also, you just don't know how the other person will take things and react, especially today. Like people can really be dangerous, and it was very frustrating because there was something that was said that I was like, if I don't hold my tongue, this is going to be a really, really big issue. And it's sad because you see the kids, and she was a small kid, and she was just repeating what she's heard from her family, and you're just like, I care about this kid so much, but there is only so much I can do. So it's really inspiring to hear like you guys be like take a stand and like actively be like, I'm not gonna teach or like I'm gonna go forward in this. And I find that very empowering. I feel like it's an interesting obstacle nowadays with how divisive everything is and how much honestly more either emotionally violent or God forbid any kind of other violence that can happen because of just how much more dangerous society has become. So yeah, there's like some bright stuff where it's like you find the right people and like the right people who can also spread other things in a safe way and know like how to do it. And it helps a lot. But then you get put in situations where it's like I really have to pick my battle so I don't lose the war.
I will tell you that it's very interesting, of course. Gary wrote what he knew with anti-Semitism, but imagine if this was an African-American teacher, an African-American principal. Would the scenarios be the same? Would the outcomes be the same? I guess I'm looking at Gary. Everybody.
Oh, well,
you write what you know, and you know
Yeah.
a Jewish background.
yeah,
obviously.
I think that the Jews traditionally are more fractured. You know, the old saying, you put 2 Jews in the room, you get 3 arguments. But I don't think, it seems like other people, when confronted with these situations, react differently. I don't recall during the Black Lives BLM protests seeing any blacks holding up a signs, "Way to go, Minneapolis PD." Okay, and I think it's a different dynamic. It's a different dynamic. Now I don't know the intricacies of different cultures like I do, Jewish, but so that's why I could write about someone like Adam and Phyllis squaring off, because I know both those people, and it's like, whoa, it's a little too, like that doesn't make any. Sometimes it just blows me away. But you have to, again, the thing about Phyllis and Deborah's so wonderful. Phyllis comes across, even though I find Phyllis's views odious, but as a playwright, as we say in Brooklyn, tough noogies, the audience to decide. But Deborah is very sincere in her depiction of Phyllis, and I give credit to her and Michelle. She's not twirling a mustache, and that's really important when you write and when you act and when you present drama, that you don't put the little thought bubble like in a comic book bad guy. Good, villain. You can't. You have to let the audience do that. And I think that's sometimes hard. I think that gets increasingly more difficult because our society is so polarized,
Right.
and the need is to show it so blatantly.
Yes,
So
she's
we
a common
Oh, I'm
person.
sorry. Go ahead, Michelle.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just saying that she's common. The way she looks at this and how she deals with it is not unfamiliar to us all. We know many a Deborah's Principal Phyllis, not Deborah, I'm sorry, honey. Many a Principal Phyllis in our lives that speak, believe, and act the same way.
Correct. Absolutely.
Who have a vision, and no matter what happens and what people may fall by the wayside and young lives that may be affected forever, they're going to stay the course of their belief and not be open. So many teachers start off with ambition and drive and want to make a difference. And the saddest thing I see is that they get beaten down by the politics and the system and the fear and our educational environment, especially now. So if you are one that does survive and has done so well as Jason does, and can think for themselves and reason for themselves, that's quite remarkable nowadays.
I don't know one retired teacher that wants to go back in a classroom and enjoys it, has a good memory.
That's sad. That's a sad statement on our educational system.
That is. And I'm going to get a lot of controversy on this, especially from the warehouse people, but I feel a little bit bad for all these protesters and all these who take money to do all the crazy violence and don't even know what they're voting for because they've been brainwashed. And we keep talking about college campuses, but science has proven that a child's brain between pre-K and second grade is when the brain is most absorbing information and trains its brain how to move forward. So if you don't start them out at 5, 6, and 7 years old on the right path to success, you're never going to have success with them or very little success. And it's been proven by the success rates in China and in other areas where education is number one, where there's respect for family, grandparents, community. Can you imagine in China if they walked out of school, threw garbage on, and try to intimidate the small store across the street and go in and try to steal money and food and stuff for after school snacks like goes on in the 5 boroughs? It would never go on. It wouldn't go on in Russia, but it goes on in our failed city much. And it leads to a whole bunch of other questions, which is why education is so important. I also see the growth of homeschooling now more than ever. People I never realized homeschool are now homeschooling because they want to protect their kids. They don't want to have to get a call that their kid was beaten up or there was, knives. They talk about weapons. When you go on an airplane, you have a whole list of weapons, pencils and scissors. But in school, kids get away with it. I saw it myself. A toy. A judge actually said, in my case, a toy gun used to threaten to kill people is not a weapon. It is in my legal papers, even though the kids went like this to the kids and said, I'm going to kill you. Which is why I want to thank each and every one of you. Gary, again, thank you for bringing this to us. Once again, introduce your entire cast and tell everybody where they can reach out to each and every one of them. Gary?
Oh, yes, just I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I'm the guy ranting and raving. And on Twitter, at Gary, the writer Gary.
Okay, Deborah, go around. Deborah?
Okay, I'm not a social media person, so you can find me on LinkedIn. I just want to give a shout out to all of the amazing teachers who are still doing it every day and who believe in the future of this country and our beautiful children. And I don't want them to go unrecognized, who spend their own money and take care of their students. So that's what I'll say.
Michelle?
Facebook and Instagram. And again, I give my shout outs to Gary, who writes this type of stuff to make us all stop and think, what are we doing?
Jackie?
Facebook, Instagram. I have a website, JackieKusher.com. And again, the thing I always remember Gary saying is thank you for bringing my words to life. And that is what we actors do and love doing.
I know I'm going to get her name wrong, so please, I don't want to say it wrong. Janison?
No worries. It's Jason. Like Hyacinth? Yeah.
Okay, so new to the club, but more than welcome, and come back with the crew. Tell us how we can reach out to you.
I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and I have a website. It's just Jason Thapora for all the user handles, and then my website is just jasonthapora.com.
So my closing words of wisdom in the last minute and a half is, first of all, thank you to everybody, and realize that through entertainment, you can educate yourself and start quality discussions. And number two, we are now in back to school season, and I'm very proud that the America First Warehouse is actually partnering with My Freedom Card, and you can get more information from myfreedomcard.com/TAFW. There are many, many products that teachers, parents, and students need for back to school that are non-toxic, affordable. You don't even realize how many chemicals that are in classrooms affect the health of a child and a teacher. You don't realize how many snacks are not helping with disease and inflammation in people of all ages. Well, we have a non-toxic American company that has over 400 products, reasonably priced and delivered to your home. And the owners support quality education and education success for all. And with that, I'm going to have to say goodbye. This is Cindy Gross, the host of Right for America, Issues That Unite, Don't Ignite. And I want to thank you again for tuning in on a Tuesday, on a hot summer day. And I look forward to next week. It's the last week of the month. And you know what that is? It's Patriot Palettes. See you next week. Thank you.
Everybody, thank you.
Thank you.